best job he ever had was working on a railroad. He got to ride the train, didn't have to dig stuff up anymore. But he was literally a day laborer, made a living from digging. Right, my dad, he became a crane operator, so his productivity improved because he was able to use a machine and his human abilities together. We're at the point now where it's that synchronicity or singularity where you don't need the human. Those jobs that we used to have the human interaction with the machine, we just don't need the human anymore. And so the bad news is you're never, ever, ever going to be productive as that robot. And the good news, though, is what you kind of said a minute ago about when they have the computer that can be the talk show host. Sure, they can do that, right? We can have you can take a computer that can write songs, and it can create dumb little pop music kind of things. But do you really have a computer that can create a whole new music genre, right? I mean, do you have a computer that's going to be Willie Nelson?
I recently saw an article where some computers were trying to make music, and I really couldn't tell you why, but that made me so nervous. And I was like, well, I don't know if their music is any good, but why does that make me so nervous?
Well, through machine learning and things, I mean, they are going to do that. They're going to mimic, right? And that's the key, is that robot, that computer algorithm, whatever it is, it's going to mimic what a human can do, and in many cases going to mimic it better. So that's the bad news. But you have to have that Willie Nelson or that Michelangelo or that Leonardo da Vinci or that Art Bell, right? You have to have that initial human creativity, that spontaneity, that someone that can create something out of absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at the whole what you're doing now with Midnight in the Desert, how that's evolved from what Art did, in the early days of Coast to Coast. I remember, and I don't know what year it was, and I'd never seen where Art got the credit for this, but I can remember, I mean, Art basically started podcasting, and I know he's not credited with that, but shoot, it had to be 1995 or 6, or it was before there were MP3 players, where he was putting episodes of his show on the internet, and you could go download them.
Oh yeah, I remember.
It was in like the mid, very late '90s, right around there, way before anybody, And that was what are you doing? You're getting around the gatekeepers, the advertisers, and the directors, and the radio station owners, right? I mean, that was not a cool thing to do, and it didn't stay up very long. The free part, right?
I actually do remember. I remember the day that I logged on to the website and I couldn't get those shows. Oh, I was so mad. I was so mad. Yeah. But you're right. That was before we even had the word podcast.
Oh yeah, it was. I don't even know what he called it in those days, but yeah, it was. And shoot, I remember I still had dial-up. I mean, everybody had dial-up back then. That was CompuServe and America Online. I mean, this is like ancient technology we're talking about, but again, it gets to that thing of, this is Art Bell, a guy that was an enlisted guy in the Air Force and a ham radio operator, and became a talk show host, and really it created an entire, late night radio genre that never existed before. And that's not, and I just use that as an example. That's where robots don't work. They're really good at mimicking. They're really good at doing repetitive tasks, and that's the key. If you don't learn anything else from what we're saying tonight or from my book, it's that people that do repetitive tasks are in trouble. It doesn't matter if they're heart surgeons or if they're fighter pilots or what they are, if they're truck drivers. If it's solely a repetitive task, then someday at some point, some computer or an algorithm is coming to take your job. But it's that creativity, it's that spontaneity, it's that